Garfield, pretty much.
Yeah, I think that's essential.
Product placement.
Oh, that's the name of the brewery, Fat Orange Cat. That's awesome.
Oh, you had me at Meow?
You have it. Wow. Bet. Alright, we got the papaya, tahini, lime, and Alfonso mango. That
Sounds like a lot.
a lot going on.
Sounds like R&B scene.
It's Alfonso mango. We should have recorded that. Alright, and then
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Beats, Brews, and Points of View podcast. I'm your host, Neil Richter, along with my partner in podcasting, sitting to my left, E-Man Bates.
The PIP, that is me, and we are at, yeah, man. I had a brain fart there,
Stat
guys.
Garden?
We are at Stat Garden for episode 140.
Is it 140?
Is it 139 or 140?
I don't remember.
I lost track. I think it's 140. I've had a lot going on today, guys. Let's just say it's 140 for now. I'll edit it if not. But yeah, hey, so episode 140 coming at you, and we are live from Stat Garden. Shout out to Mark. Shout out to Frost for having us back. Yeah, man.
I think this is going to be a nice little new home for us to get some episodes, at least with the guests and stuff on, to have a nice little spot to come out and do it.
It switches it up a little bit, right?
Yeah,
That's what I like about it.
I like this, purple velvety chair that we're sitting in. That's kind of nice.
We got the Prince purple going on here with the.
But anyways, that song that I just started the
Slay.
podcast off with tonight is a song called Demons, Mine Gone by an artist named Jalen Frazier, who is the guest here on our podcast tonight. So welcome to the show, Jalen.
Appreciate y'all having me, man. Appreciate it.
So I guess before we get into it, obviously we do this segment where we introduce a beverage on the show here. I have plenty of questions, but we'll crack these drinks first. The one that I have, because I'm still on my no alcohol kick here, is called Little Spirits. And Little Spirits is a non-alcoholic brand here, and I'll give you a short backstory on them. It says Little Saints was, I said Little Spirits, didn't I? Little Saints. Little Saints was born during the pandemic as an antidote to my drinking too much alcohol and feeling terrible about it. Having spent pretty much my entire adult life as a cocktail enthusiast, I ignored the initial signs that alcohol was doing more harm than good to my body and my mind. Without access to any options for more interesting than a sparkling water with lime, it was hard to convince myself to make better choices while on my own or out with friends. So I set out on a quest to create my own solution, a transformative, non-alcoholic drink that would taste like a cocktail, but have uplifting functional benefits, and mostly important of all, make everyone smile. But yeah, so I guess the stuff that this is made out of, they have CBD is in it. They have a certain kind of mushroom, and then they have botanical terpenes in there too. So I'm kind of excited to try this stuff. It's supposed to be like a ginger mule.
Yeah, man. So coming from that's a big thing. That's what gives like cannabis its
flavors,
aromas,
right?
Yeah.
Yep. So that's pretty cool. So I'm excited to try this. What do you got, E-Man?
So what I'm rocking over here, I have the KÖLD-Style from our friends over at Fair State Brewing. We have a German-style everyday beer, golden, crispy, and refreshing. So it is a Kolsch-style, so you can't say it's actually a true Kolsch because it's not from Cologne, Germany. Fun fact, I think I've talked about that like 100 times on this podcast before. But yeah, KÖLD-Style is a nice Kolsch-style ale brewed in collaboration with our friends at St. Elmo Brewing in Austin, Texas. They make a heck of a Kolsch-style ale themselves. And so we figured that we want to do it right. We asked the people who know how. KÖLD-Style is a crisp, bright, and probably more hoppy than European forebears, but like in a polite, fun way. Fermented on the cool side and lagered cold, it sports a wisp of fruity esters that serves to only enhance your enjoyment. Stay cold all summer with KÖLD-Style, even though it is the winter. So, yeah.
And then what you got the one for his description as well, the one that Jalen's drinking?
They didn't come with a description on the tap for that one, but he over here, actually, if you want to introduce your own beer, you can go for it, man.
This is by Fat Orange Cat. You had me at Meow. It's, I ain't too up on, but it's fire though.
Good. I'm glad you like it at least.
The description says papaya, tahini lime, and Alfonso. I don't even know what the hell Alfonso mango is. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Jalen's
sounds
before the
super
podcast
fancy.
said it sounded like an R&B singer.
Dude, it sounds like some. I could see him have a collaboration with Tevin Campbell or something like that.
For sure. But anyways, yeah, so while we sip on all these, I kind of wanted to get into a little bit of a backstory here with you, Jalen. Obviously, I'm new to you, but have become a fast fan, I would say. And I think I got hip to you by seeing your manager, Pat, post a clip of one of your songs. Is he your manager?
No, he's just
Just a friend or
just a
something?
friend.
Okay.
Yeah, just a friend.
So I had saw Pat post, I think a clip of, it was the one that we just played,
Okay.
actually, the new song, and I was like, wow. That shit is sweet.
Appreciate
so
that, man.
that's how I kind of got hip to your stuff. But
Shout out to Pat 313, by the way.
Pat's real cool, man.
yeah, him and I have never actually met Pat.
I have.
We follow. Oh, have you met
Yeah,
Pat? I was
I've
gonna
met
say
him a
I've
couple
never
times.
met
I
him.
met him.
We follow each other on Instagram, but
Yeah.
we've never actually met in person. But I've seen him like in the crowd of hip hop shows that I go to and stuff. So
Yeah, we
shout
went,
out to him.
I met him. Him and Isaac were at the Far Side. I want to say.
Yeah, they were there, but I didn't talk to him.
Oh
there.
yeah, I went up
Okay.
and said what.
Oh, you
that,
were
that was
okay.
one time I met him. No,
Gotcha.
but yeah.
Cool. But yeah. So give us a little backstory about. I'm always curious to what brought people to music in the first place. So I kind of wanted to start there.
Like,
with
what makes you tick, Jalen? We really
Man.
want to know. Like, cause I love the music. I love the production style you got going. So, like, what made you get into music?
Music, it's always kind of been like a part of my life, Like just as a kid, my dad playing, Stevie and Cameo and the old, the old music, and then I just always felt like I had a special connection to it. Like even like just how I digested music was just always different. Like I felt like I was able to just really live with it. Like it really, like the music I listen to, like it kind of like emotion, like it gives me emotion. It helps me like get through the day. So I think it's just always been something that it's been there for me, and just kind of developed my own style and wanting to do music, and that's really just how it kind of came about. Just
How did you figure out though that you had bars? Because like it's one thing to be into music, and there's another to discover that you have the talent to rap.
I feel like, when I first started, it was like I was sending like a lot of raps to my homies and stuff, and just kind of build confidence from there. Like I didn't really go into it thinking like, oh, I could do this for a living, or I could do this, when I get older. But it was just kind of like therapeutic, and through repetition, I think that's when it kind of became something.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been making music for?
Honestly, I remember I probably recorded my first verse maybe like in like sixth grade.
That's awesome.
So,
Okay.
and I've been writing on and off probably since then.
How old are you now?
28.
Okay.
28.
Nice.
Yeah. So I got a little while in.
So what I guess like style wise, like what do you kind of go for, I guess, in a way? Because I like when I hear your music, it gives me one feeling, but I always like to hear the artist, like, what influences you to make like a certain song,
Yeah. A lot of the times when I'm just writing, I guess it's just kind of what weighs heavy on my mind that day. So like if it's a political song, like that'll probably just be something that comes about naturally. It just kind of flows out. Or if it's, I'm like, I hear a beautiful melody in my head and I'm like, man, I know I can make a hook. I know I could do something fire to this. Then that's just kind of where it takes me. But the creation process is always a little different for me. I never really have a set, I would say, formula. It just kind of comes out.
Here's something I'm always curious about, especially with MCs, is during your process, do you just, so like off when you're living, do you just write bars and then once you get beats, you see what can fit to where? Or do you have to start with a beat first to inspire the bars to write to it?
I used to kind of have to have a beat, but now I can just kind of pull my phone out and get going. Just kind of whatever inspires me at that moment. But yeah.
And I guess that would that's kind of interesting because then you can kind of take what you wrote and then put wordplay into it because so you can match with the beat and everything like that. So that's kind of cool. That's interesting.
You familiar with Foulmouth?
With Foul? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so me and Foul been working on this album for like a year and some change, and basically how we did this, he would just kind of cook the beat. He probably wouldn't even really send it to me. Like I would have to go to the studio to get the beat. So a lot of the times I would just write to other beats, or like you said, just kind of write out of thin air and then made it happen. So that was kind of a good practice for me actually, because I've never really wrote that way before, but being introduced to him, that kind of really.
How is it for you, E? Because do you need a beat in order to write something to, or are you just writing constantly and then figuring out what you can?
It really depends on my mood for the day.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, like how I make music is a lot of times, like if I hear a beat, it'll bring something out of me, and I'm like, okay, this is the direction I want to kind of go when, like, writing style. Other days, if I'm just like in a fuck it mood, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just like write stuff, like, cause I drive a lot for my job, so I'm always like rapping in my head, and then I'm like, if I'm at like allegedly, if I'm like at a stoplight or something, because I know it's illegal now, you pull out your phone like, oh, let me write this bar down real quick so I don't forget that.
I allegedly do that as well.
And I know like him too, like he'll like, even just because you can find all kinds of instrumentals on YouTube, he'll just pull those up for inspiration and write something like, like I want this to be like a jazzy type song, so he'll just find like a jazzy beat just to start something off with,
that, and then like I was like, all right, cool, let's make something, like take this kind of similar format and like make my own thing with it and kind of like use that as like a base. So
I had to check some of your music out.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I've been on for a while.
How long you been at it?
First
interview.
Food, 2010-ish, 11, stuff like that, like on and off, a few projects in. Neil and I love making music, don't get me wrong, but I really love having this platform too, because I can talk to other creatives and kind of like fill that out.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I had a great show run for a while. I've been doing a lot of shit. So yeah.
It's funny, you mentioned right in the beginning when you're introducing yourself that you grew up on like Stevie and Cameo and stuff like that. It's funny that you mentioned Cameo, because yesterday I was on Instagram, and you know how like a lot of there's podcasts now that will like break down the writing or recording process of like one specific song. Yeah. They'll be like, this is what they sampled, this is how they did this is that. Well, they were breaking down, I forget the name of the podcast that was doing this, but they were breaking down Outkast's Miss Jackson.
Oh, I seen that.
And they were talking about how the bass line is from Cameo, and then they inverted some drum sounds on there and shit.
When they reverse it, it gives that,
that real cool, like, it's really sweet how they do that. I thought that I always love learning the samples and stuff like that, because me and him I really think it's like a true art form is sampling, and if you're really good at it, and like it really bridges the generational gaps, and like I've found out about so many old songs through the sample on a hip hop song, you know what I mean, and then gone back and done my homework.
One of my favorite sample stories is Rick James. Because Rick James hated hip hop.
Oh yeah.
Rick, like I know you know this story because we watched. Have you watched that Rick James documentary?
I haven't.
Dude. So there's a story about like he just hated sample. Like I don't want anybody using my music and things like that. Like, and he just did not like rap or hip hop or anything. But he was also going broke at the time too. Like he spent all his money 70s, 80s on drugs and shit like that. Then MC Hammer came out with Can't Touch This, which is a super freak flip. And then he found out, how much money can I make off royalties off this? Oh yeah, I love hip hop.
Sample it again. I got some other stuff too.
Oh, and people have sampled that song all over the place.
Oh, for sure. No. I think people have even sampled him saying cocaine's a hell of a drug from Dave Chappelle's show.
I guarantee there is EDM out there. There's artists that have that drops. Boom, 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 boom. Cocaine's a hell of a drug. Boom, boom, boom.
That's
So bringing it back to your music a bit here, I had mentioned in the beginning, obviously, that you're an MC, but Jalen's also kind of a triple threat for people who are listening that are new to him. I mean, he can sing well too, and he was telling me he's got songs coming out where he's done all the production work as well on that. So did you always know that you had kind of like a good singing voice, or was that something that you just like worked on, like, I want to be able to do this for my own music? So
that's funny. I remember because when I was a kid, my family was obsessed with the Temptations.
Nice.
And I wanted to be Eddie Kendrick so bad.
He's the best, dude.
Like anytime we had family get-togethers or anything, I had to sing, and if they didn't let me sing, then I would start whining and crying or whatever. So I think I've always had maybe just a solid voice, maybe a good tone, but I didn't really think I was going to be able to sing on wax, I guess.
And we talked about this privately before the podcast. I think that's going to be such a giant benefit to you, because it's not really stated enough when people talk about hip hop tracks how hard it is to craft a hook. You
Yeah.
know, it
Yep.
seems like
It's
it
an
might be
art
the
form,
simplest
man.
part of the song, but it's not. You know what I mean? And
It's
like,
easy to forgotten.
it's
for sure.
crazy, man. And like that can like to be able to do your own is a huge benefit to you. Like I know like certain artists that I love that have always been good at it. Like even not even singers, like Styles P's always been real good about being able to write his own hooks and sing his own hooks and stuff. And I think that's just going to be a benefit because you're not going to have to go out and find a R&B singer or whatever. You can just do it yourself.
I mean,
a
it's
friend
cool
of ours
to have that. Don't get me wrong. It is cool
Yeah,
to like always collab with
Oh,
stuff
for sure,
like that.
for sure.
But yeah, to actually be like, all right, I don't really need you on this, but I really want you to like add like something that I'm, you know, that I might not have that sauce that
right.
you do. So,
And if you
yeah.
did want to bring in an R&B person or someone else that you wanted to collaborate with, at least you have yourself as the reference track. You can,
Yeah,
you know, write it and sing it yourself before you put someone else on it. So I think that's pretty cool as well to be able to do.
Like I think one of my stories, which you ever like, what was the Tyler the Creator song on Flower Boy? It was like, I ain't got time. He wanted Kanye to say that I ain't got time.
Oh, yeah.
for you niggas. He was like, because Kanye has that personality. I didn't want to do that shit.
yeah.
It's when you say that I can actually it sounds like a Kanye kind of a draw when you say that I ain't got time.
Yeah.
Well, I love that album though. By the way, Flower Boy.
great
is
album.
Man,
Flower
it's
Boy.
great. That's when I really like. We talk about Tyler on here quite a bit. That's when I like. He's been on him from the beginning. I didn't really get into his music until Flower Boy. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, now this is kind of some shit that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm a noted Odd Future stan. I mean,
Yeah.
I just, so,
And it's crazy though. Like we talk about like the ability to be unique in hip hop because there's so many people that take the easy route that go, you know, this sound is popular on the radio right now, so let me make some shit that sounds like this. But I think it just 9 times out of 10, if you just stick to your guns and believe that what you're doing is what's gonna make it, it works out for you because that's the people that really rise to the top. Like people were not fucking with Odd Future, like as far as marketing
audience were a
wise
bunch of
and like
hoes.
on a grand
I
scale
mean,
when
can
they
you
first came out.
Can you blame him?
No, for sure. But I mean,
remember,
they
yeah,
stuck
yeah.
to their thing and
Yeah.
they just got better at it and better at it. They kept their collective, and it was a very much like a rollout in the same way that Wu-Tang was. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You had a huge collective of people, but they were all so easy to market as solo artists too.
I get so much shit for saying like that's like the millennial version of Wu-Tang.
It
Odd
is.
Future.
It
Yeah.
is.
It
It
is.
really is.
It really
though.
is. Yeah. No, that's funny. I remember being in like was it 10th grade year? I was in like in science class watching the Earl video, and he's like peeling his fingernails off. I'm like, yo, what
Dude,
is
shock,
this?
so we did a whole episode on shock value.
Yeah,
we
we
were
did.
talking
Yeah.
about that
where,
aspect.
where
yeah.
Tyler was eating the cockroach and
Yeah.
stuff, and on
I'm
the
like,
video
what
and
is
stuff.
going on?
But
And I mean, look at him now. He's like, you know, one of the front runners of like, you know, this new generation of people that are bubbling up.
Not really
He's not
new,
even a
I
new
guess,
generation, but like
that whole blog era, he's like definitely like he's in that conversation with like the Drakes and the J. Cole's and
for sure. I mean,
like
time
that.
wise, he came out around the same time as Kendrick Cole and all them. But
As far as, like,
I feel like
that
he
time-
popped like what would be a generation later, almost in a way. Like
Yeah,
the way
Flower Boy
the way
was,
like
like-
young generation Gen Z people respond to Tyler stuff now is pretty wild.
Yeah.
Like he's got it. I mean, festivals, all kinds of crap.
I do want to bring it back to a point you said about really kind of sticking like to you like what you know and like what you want to make. This is what I like about your music a lot. So you give me like it's very like kind of like that raw kind of grittiness. It almost kind of sounds like some like Griselda shit to me
Yeah.
in a way. I don't know if that's what you're going for, but that's like
I've been hearing
what
that
it-
a lot lately.
or like very Alchemist or like Conductor Jones type production you use is very jazzy, is very and it fits your voice a lot. Like the way you're able to like kind of like ride a cadence is super dope.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and I'm not like trying to like gas you up or anything. This is actually just how I feel. Like I've went through like the 3 projects that I saw on streaming, and I just think that keep on that lane, man. Like it's definitely fitting. And then the fact that you can actually sing to and do your own hooks is beautiful.
I also very much appreciate, and this is something like that's flipped in me since I quit drinking. Like before I enjoyed more party. I always wanted stuff with a deeper meaning, especially when it came to hip hop, because like I feel like what you're saying is like such a huge part of being an MC. But when I quit drinking, I could not care less about like party music at all anymore.
Yeah.
So like I like that you have stuff that's actually very lyrical and like deep with some extra meaning to it, because that's the kind of stuff that I want now, you know, like, and I feel like the party records are cool or whatever, but like people can play themselves out with them too.
It's a
like
very-
I
it's a
stopped
place
listening
for everything.
Like Wiz
Yeah.
Khalifa's been making the same song for 15 years now, right? Like, and I'm not a Wiz hater. I loved Wiz when he first came out, but it's like his style and his lyrics, none of that's progressed.
So to your
me.
point, and we can use the same thing I said to him. I can use for that same logic. If you're gonna have your target demographic that's gonna buy your album every single time, why switch it up?
I mean, that's true. I mean, that's a good point. If you want to care,
Kid Cudi has been depressed my whole his whole run.
Kid Cudi's going on tour with the Chili Peppers, by the way. I just saw
That
that.
is what?
Yeah, it's Chili Peppers are taking Kid Cudi. Who else are they
That's
taking to
interesting.
opener? There was like 3 big opening acts that the Kid Cudi or that the Chili Peppers are taking.
They've
on the road.
been doing that lately. They had Thundercat last tour, and they had ASAP Rocky before that.
Yeah, they
It was
did.
which ASAP Rocky and Red Hot Chili Peppers is a very interesting combination.
They have
for a
one
tour.
guy that's going on tour with them that's kind of like in the vein of like a Playboy Cardi, like he's like an alternative rap type of shit. Like they said, it's almost like more metal rap, almost like it's really intense and
Is
abrasive.
it horror or whatever? No,
No.
he ain't big enough. I like his music though. I gotta look that up.
That's
I'm
dope.
kinda
They
curious
bringing the genres together though.
Yeah, I always thought that was cool.
Like-
Like Chili Peppers do a good job of like they like harnessing like the new generations of talent and bringing those kind of people on the road.
I
with them.
always like those collab tours, like when Lorde tour with Run the Jewels.
That was cool
an
too,
interesting
yeah.
one. That or Billie Eilish tour with Denzel Curry.
I had a lot of people, or not a lot of people, but I know a few people that saw the Janet Jackson tour, and Ludacris opened the Janet Jackson tour, and there were like both of my friends that were casual Luda friends or fans were like, man, he was so good opening for Janet, and it was just like hit after hit after hit after hit. I forgot how many hits that man has.
Luda got him. His catalog.
You know
is
he's
crazy.
he's doing Electric Forest this year.
I saw that. That makes me
I haven't
kind of
heard
want to go
Electric
back,
Forest in a
man.
while.
I haven't been in the last 3 years. I used to go every
Last
single
year
year.
was the first time and only time I ever went, and it was probably the weakest lineup. But I got to see some dope there's this guy Mobley that I saw that was probably one
Not
of the
Moby,
not Moby, not the techno dude, Mobley.
Mobley.
Yeah, he is super dope. Like
God, that
he
sounds
was
familiar.
making beats out of the crowd. Like he had this sensor thing,
that's hard.
and you had the crowd to hold it, and then he was literally just making a beat on the spot out of touching the crowd's hand or whatever. That was
that's
holding
nuts.
it. That, and he was playing guitar, he's playing drums, he was singing, This dude is like a one-stop shop. It was probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I reached out to him on Instagram, and he actually recognized me because I was it wasn't not many people going on. I think there was a bigger DJ act going on next the other bigger stage. So it was me, my boy that I was with, and then maybe 15 other people in the crowd for that show. He goes, "Hey, I appreciate you in the front row, bro." I'm like, "Dog, next time you have a Detroit stop, I'm there." Follow me on Instagram after that. I'm like,
Oh,
"Fuck
that's
yeah."
sweet.
Yeah.
You know what would be a good act for an Electric Forest as far as hip hop goes?
Who?
Baby Keem.
Yes.
That would be phenomenal. And I heard that. Are you guys familiar with the electronic artist Fred again?
Yes.
So I guess Baby Keem just put out a brand new song with him. I haven't heard it yet, but I just read that on my phone today. I was like, ooh, I got to get around to checking that out.
Did you, speaking of Baby Keem, either one of you see the movie?
I watched it last night.
No, wait, what?
So he has an Amazon short movie called The Melodic Blue.
Oh, I didn't even.
It's 20 minutes.
Okay.
You can crush it.
It's
Totally
cool.
like that.
It's
definitely
cool.
check
super
that out. I'm a
visually
huge
super
Keem
dope.
fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely check that out.
Me too, man. When we saw him open for Kendrick, it was so clear to me that this guy's ready.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy is not an opening act. He is the next Kendrick.
I'm really
new
excited to see
generation's
what he
Kendrick.
does next.
He broke St. Andrews.
Yeah,
That was crazy.
That was crazy. The floor.
Broke the
budging.
floor of
Yeah.
St. Andrews.
Yeah.
And him and Kendrick, when Kendrick brought him back out to do the songs that they have together, Family Ties and all that
I love
shit,
how they
Range
tore-
Brothers,
Dude,
that
how
was
they even
crazy.
tied that in? He goes for they had Mr. Morale for this time, for the time in your life that you have been, you haven't really done anything for your family up until now, and then Baby Keem just comes out of nowhere and just they do a Family Ties.
For sure.
My boy played that shit at his wedding.
Did he
He's
really?
like, yeah, no, he's
That's
like, no,
all
this
right.
got to ride.
This is awesome.
Because we're big fans of the TDE and stuff. So he ran some soul, some Kendrick. Yeah, that was dope. For sure.
So I want to get back into your music a little bit. I obviously played the newest single, but tell us a little bit about because this also came out this year, the God Bless My Chalice EP, and
Yeah.
what that process was like for you.